What's up, League Nighters? We're out here at BLD in Vegas. We have a super special guest from True Dominate. We've got Mike Nino, one of the best pitchers I think that we've seen out here on the Naga circuit. Plays conference USSSA ball as well. One of the things that we've noticed is that the knuckleball is one of the things that almost every high-level pitcher throws.
Yeah.
So we've got Jay-Z here with us as well. He plays in the B division in Naga, who's just learning the knuckleball. So we're gonna try to get a couple of tips and tricks here from Nino, figure out how he does it. We'll have Jay-Z throw some pitches and see how he can get some tips and tricks to improve, and hopefully some of the viewers can take some of these tips and improve it so that they're out there throwing just some filthy stuff like what you'll see Nino out here doing today. So first thing I think we'll start with, which is most important, is the grip, right? Knuckleball is all about the grip. So you were telling us before the video started, you have a kind of a unique grip. Tell us a little bit about how you hold it.
So what I've learned in my pitching experience is a lot of guys, what they'll do, and I'll show you here, they'll grab it kind of like the tip of their nails where the seam's at. For me, it hurts my fingertips, so a lot of guys probably can say the same. For me, I hold the ball with anywhere away from the seams. It could either be this angle, it could be this angle, higher angle that you would like it if you do decide to mimic this. I throw it just like this, and the object of me throwing it is you want it to slip. When it gets slippery, that's when I feel like I get the better knuckleball that just comes right off. Some guys will throw it kind of like a way like this or some other kind of form, but for me, this is the best way I can show you.
Okay.
Every conference pitcher that I've seen in my experience has a different type of way of knuckleball. Some will grab the seam, some will throw it in a different angle. For me, like I said, I like to throw it away from the seams where I can grab it and just let it slip right out of my fingers. So I'll throw you a couple here so you guys can check it out and then kind of go from there. So just like this, nice and easy. As you see, it'll slip right out of my hands. There it is.
So as you're going through this, where is your release? Like, are you trying to find a specific point to release to make sure you're hitting a specific spot?
It just depends on the batter. So for me, with the experience that I have, if the batter's on the plate, you want to keep it either away or in, depending on where his stronger factor is of hitting.
Okay.
You want to find what his weak point is and pitch to that weak point.
Absolutely.
So for me, if the guy's off the plate or on, I like to stand here and just kind of throw it right in that outside corner. As you see right there.
He right.
So now,
Okay.
if the batter I feel like is, depending on where he's standing, depending on the base situation, depending where I feel like, okay, this guy's gonna go for a 3-run bomb, I want to keep him away from that. So
Absolutely.
like if he's on the plate, just kind of right there on the outside.
Okay.
Right there, you know what I mean? If he's on the plate, obviously he doesn't want to get jammed, just throw it right inside, right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just all depends. For me, I've been doing this for years, so the experience is there. Obviously, I've taken a year off of pitching just to get my body a little healthier. But the performance of pitching is you just have to find a strategy. For guys who are just starting off pitching, I would recommend is literally just throw 4 seams and just try to get it behind the plate.
Okay.
That's
Just
your
focus
goal.
on throwing strikes
just
first.
Focus on throwing strikes. That's going to be your first point. Once you get adjusted to where you throw a strike and you're comfortable throwing consistent strikes, and now you start working just basically the corner, same thing, 4 seams. Throwing a corner to corner, going comfortably there. And then once you master that and you feel like you're consistently throwing strikes, then I feel a knuckleball is perfect.
Okay.
You know, you can figure out however it works better for you. If this works, great. If it doesn't, find out what knuckleball works best for you and go from there. But you want to work from the outside. You want to work from the inside. You always got to have a foot on the rubber, obviously.
Yep.
You want to work deep, and then you also want to work up. And there's different angles for that. I feel the outside, inside, obviously, is for a more jam.
Mm-hmm.
I feel deeper is for the person who's probably a little bit more deeper and closer.
Okay.
And this is perfect for the ASA. Because the ASA, I can throw more up and land it right behind home plate.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
you read right into my next question. You play both. You kind of already explained, but you know, other than that, do you do anything else different when you're playing trip versus when you're playing ASA?
Obviously, it's more pumping, so
Okay.
you get a little bit more moving around ASA. You got to be on the mound, you got to hold the pause, and then throw it. So for me, for ASA, depending where he's standing on the plate, like I said, I'll usually stay deep and out.
Okay.
Usually, I'll stay here the majority of the time for ASA. For U-trip, I will work the corners more here, and the reason why is because ASA is more patient. ASA, there's no faking. ASA, you just throw the ball. You don't have to worry about fakes. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. For U-trip, obviously, we won't get too much into that since this is an ASA video, but for U-trip, I can move around. You know what I mean? I move around, fake a little bit. For ASA, you got to find a spot, try to get him off point, make him off balance, and then go with that. So as you see, you throw a little bit more higher, you get away with it. U-trip, you won't get away with the high pitches. And I think that's the difference in that.
Okay.
In between the flat pitch and the high pitch.
And we've noticed a couple times we were watching you in Dallas at the World Series when you were pitching, and sometimes you would just throw one like 20 feet in the air.
Yeah.
I assume you're doing that on purpose.
On purpose.
What's your strategy with that?
Well, if it's a 1-1 count, obviously, right? Let's say my first pitch is a strike. The next pitch, the batter's going to be ready. He's going to get out there and swing at anything close. What you want to do is sometimes you just throw a high one just like that, and all it does is just takes him off his, I guess you could say, his momentum. He's out there to hit the ball. He's thinking the next pitch is probably going to be a strike or a cookie. You throw something high like that, they're looking at it like, what the hell is that? They'll usually jump out of the box. By the time they get back in the box and they're set, I'm already pitching the next pitch, so it throws them off balance.
Got it.
You want to throw your batter as much as possible as you want to get them off balance as much as you can. Even if you throw one of these, at least he's watching the ball. He's like thinking something. Majority of the guys will question like, what's going on? I mean, but for a lot of the guys who play like the B and A division, they're more patient. There's a reason why they're up.
Yep.
So they'll come up and they'll watch it and be like, okay, whatever, next pitch. And it's kind of tougher, obviously, the higher the division you go. But I feel like if you just throw an off pitch just to mess around, you just kind of like use the offense, kind of like defense. Sorry.
Yep.
Move around, relax a little bit, get an extra pitch, and just kind of like loosen up and then get ready.
We were talking earlier about it, man. You love to have fun out there on the field. And
Love it.
It shows in the way you play. You do stuff like that, keeps it light.
Yep.
But it's also, like you said, you're changing timing, you're changing sight lines, you're doing all these things to keep the batter off kilter while still just out there having a good time.
Absolutely. The day you stop having fun is the day that we should probably quit playing.
Absolutely.
This game is a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people, like including you guys. You get to enjoy the game, travel the world, meet a lot of different areas. You know what I mean? For me, I've always enjoyed it. It's even brought me to one of my partners, which is Damo, that you guys saw playing right now. And it's things like that I enjoy.
Awesome.
And hopefully one day we leave a legacy where people remember us as, hey man,
Absolutely.
that guy was actually pretty cool.
Definitely. All right, Jay-Z. So you're a fairly new pitcher, but I know you've picked up the knuckleball. You play a lot of U-Trip. You also play ASA, and you see that it's important. So how do you hold it? And let's have you run through after you kind of talk about that. Run it through some pitches and have Nino give you some feedback.
Yeah. So first of all, it's funny enough, the topic of pitching strategy to batters, I feel like that could be it's an entirely separate video on its own.
Really?
And I have so much to say about that too. Kind of, following up on what you're saying. But yeah, to stay on topic, so knuckleball, basically the grip that hurts his fingers, that's the grip I use. So originally I had started off by doing more of like a, 2-finger, almost like a this kind of grip. And so I started by doing this, and then I noticed it was slipping a lot, especially in the cold weather or if the ball was a little slippery. So then I started trying to just do a consistent grip across the board where I used 3-finger on the seams, pinky just kind of off to the side, a little bit irrelevant, thumb also on the seam. So more or less a, kind of like a 4-seam pitch grip for softball, but with fingers on the knuckles, fingers on the seam. And so yeah, as Nino said, it's all about the release. So if you can release it kind of straight and have it slip out of this grip, then it's going to float and not really spin. And so one thing that I do sometimes before a game or even between innings, if I'm noticing that my knuckleball is slipping a little bit and not being effective, I'll throw the ball straight up in the air with this grip, because like we said, it's all about the release. So you want to make sure that when you release it straight up, it's not spinning. And so if it's like that, where it's not really spinning that much end over end, then you're ready to try the grip in a game again.
Okay.
And so I'll usually be able to know pretty early in a game, warming up between innings or just trying it out a couple times, whether my knuckleball is working that game. And it depends on a bunch of things for me since I'm still trying to figure it out. Weather is definitely a factor. The ball slipperiness, like the U-Trip balls tend to be a little bit more grippy than the ASA balls, although these are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So
we're feeling a little bit of a breeze right now. Does that affect when you would use this pitch, or maybe how you would approach change it?
It could. It depends on the wind factor. If you got a wind, like for instance, if the wind is pushing that way, for me, I would have to adjust like before games, throw in a couple, see if it's going to bother it.
Okay.
If you see that it's floating a little more, then obviously you want to adjust a little bit more back and then let it sink right in there. If the wind is pushing my way, then obviously you probably want to step up a little bit and fight right into that wind, or you know that it's going to slow it down and land. If you go and you push it too much, obviously it's just going to go higher and then it's going to probably fall over back. So you have to adjust that wind so you can do it.
Anything with a crosswind?
I mean, it could be your best friend or your worst nightmare.
Right?
It's going to either come just like this, right over the plate for a great strike, or it's just going to go that way.
It's gonna have a mind of its own.
It'll be on deck batter.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not at the point where I can really aim side to side with this one yet. I'm just trying to kind of land it. So that one spun a little too much.
Yeah. I think that's what it all starts, is as long as you can get that ball to land behind home plate, that's the beginning of your start.
That spun way too much. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
like,
for
I think
sure.
that's the killer for a lot of guys that go in, they want to pitch, and it's like they're throwing them too deep or too short. You can consistently land behind home plate. That's where the start is. And then once you learn the knuckleball right after that, that's when it just gets dangerous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A little too much. So on that one, even if the pitch doesn't completely float, it still serves as almost an off-speed pitch where it's not spinning reliably the same way as your other pitches spin. Like even if I throw a slider, it's still spinning end over end mostly. So yeah, gotta focus on the grip. Nope, that spun too much. So this is when I would probably stop pitching it in the inning, and then between innings, try to work on the release up and down, and just make sure that I'm getting the release. And I think I'm pushing a little too much. There we go. So now trying to kind of find a happy medium. And so that one kind of moved a little, kind of spun a little side to side. Anything you're noticing, or just, you know, practicing?
I think the only thing that I mean, the straight arm is a really good pitch. It's deadly. But I feel like your release point is still like for instance, when I'm telling you to slip, I feel like it's still holding on, if that makes sense. Like it's still holding on, and that's why it's spinning, yeah. Versus if you just let it just like slip, like I'll throw you one right here, just, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's a sideways, it's still knuckling slowly, but at least it's still not moving. For yours, I feel like you see how it's just coming off?
Yeah.
You're still moving fingers on there.
So I guess
you want
this
it
would
to
be
directly slip off that finger versus like, for instance, even if you hold it like this, at least if you know what I'm saying? See how it's just slipping? Yeah. Even though it's spinning there, if you just let it slip right off, it should come off pretty good where it doesn't spin.
So this would be probably a good time for me to try your grip. Noticing the
yeah, try it out. I mean, it's gonna feel weird at first, but once you get it, dude, it's pretty solid.
Nope.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
It's a little weird.
It took me probably about 4 months to get comfortable with it.
Okay. Yeah, the grip I use, I tried doing in like a day, and honestly, not great. No, this is gonna take some work for sure. See if I can land a couple more with mine, because you know naturally you wouldn't try to do a completely new grip mid-game.
Well, the good thing is it's throwing strikes, so even if it's not spinning, it's still throwing strikes.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Okay,
there you go.
That one was good.
See, that was a good one.
Yeah. So then once you have one like that, it's like, okay, what did I do on that?
Yeah.
Let me try to.
There you go. Sideways knuckle.
Yeah.
A lot of knuckleballs are obviously the good knuckleballs are the ones that don't spin and they move. But you also get those ones that go slowly like this. Those are deadly too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of players will look at the ball more or less and they want to cut it or they want to hit it. And if you're doing something sideways, people are like, what's that? You know what I mean? Oh, there you go. Fancy.
Sorry, this is an ASA video.
we tailor to all organizations.
There you go.
Don't worry.
That's a good one.
That's a strike. Okay, not bad. Yeah, no, I'll definitely try to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Just
the key word for me. What works best is like sometimes I'll throw sideways just to mess around with it. The sideways will usually curve in, knuckle, if that makes sense. So you see what I'm saying?
So you use the pinky on to guide it, right?
Yep, exactly. Everything just slides right off.
Okay. It felt better because before I wasn't using the pinky.
Yeah. It takes a little bit to adjust, but once you get it to adjust, man, it'll be okay. It takes a little while. Yeah. Just try to get it to slip right off your fingers. That's your number one factor. Just let it slip right off your fingers. See what I mean? That's all slip literally all right off my fingers. If it feels like it's not slipping, then maybe rub your hands like on the black tar or on sand or dirt. That usually helps for me, just to make it a little bit more slippery.
Yeah, I think just figuring out where to release it, then the physics of it will take a little time for me to think.
Yeah, exactly.
Do one more?
Yeah. And then you learn with curveball. Those are fun. There, oh boy.
Yeah.
See if I can get it without no spin. There it is.
Oof. Oof. That's the one. That's the one Charles usually hits a mile, but just want to say that out loud.
So how hard are you squeezing this thing?
Not hard at all.
No?
No, literally, I can show you. Not that hard.
Okay.
When I throw it, so it's not hard at all. It's just enough to where I can grip it and just release it.
Damn. And I literally watched the ASA stamp stare at me the whole way.
Oh, Jay's getting in on it.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'll stick to playing outfield.
Well, as he said, you want to make sure you can throw strikes first.
Yes. Yeah.
Before
I can't go from 0 to expert. I got to go from
Exactly.
0
Yeah,
to
once you learn
training
all the
wheels.
strike zones, and you can throw a strike on command. On command, it gets that easy just to say, okay, I want to throw a strike.
Right.
For guys who play a lot and do work on their craft, it's easier for them to say, okay, let's say the count is 3-1, you got a strike. It's okay. Let me take a deep breath and you just throw a strike in there. There's a guy in Phoenix, Arizona, Jose Flores. He started pitching about 3 years ago, and now is one of the most dominant pitchers in the game. Started in his backyard, just on a little mound like this. His thing is the floater. So for ASA pitching, he would be phenomenal. But his thing is with U-Trip players, he has a slow pace where he just does this simple and throws a good knuckleball behind it. And because it floats so good, he messes up a lot of players.
Nice.
So it's really good for the ASA game. There's a guy named Pinkham that also plays the major division. Very good knuckleball. He does really good faking, but for ASA, it's the same thing. He just floats a good knuckleball and just controls where he wants to land. So there's a reason why those guys are professionals.
Right.
They're really good at what they do, but it starts off with putting the work in at home or find a park, making sure you can throw strikes, and then the knuckleballs and the curveballs come along, and then boom, there it is. Then you become one of the better ones.
Right. So when you were pitching a lot, how much would you be doing practice versus like just getting game reps? Like, are you still taking the time outside of the field and working on stuff?
Not right now. I'm legitimately going to take a year, 2 years off. I want to play infield, get my body rolling. Once I get strong again, then I'll probably go back to pitching and stuff like that. But when I was doing it, we were hitting 3-4 times a week, and I was pitching. So I was throwing 100 balls a night probably.
Perfect.
And then just working on knuckleballs.
Right.
I was trying to get my guys out. So not only did I make them better hitters, but better pitchers.
So I was talking to Dom up there actually. He was telling me, he was like, yeah, we have one round where Nino is just like, hey, I'm playing this like I'm trying to get you out, and I'm gonna make you work on stuff. And he's like, he's getting me. But yeah, I mean, practice should be about pitching too, right?
Exactly.
It's not just about going up there and hitting, even though that's a big part of the game.
Exactly. I mean, for hitters, this is where they want to learn. Is they want to learn from a pitcher that's actually going to work you.
Sure.
It makes him a better hitter, but it's also to put him to work in for pitching. So
Definitely.
You can get two ways out of it. I mean, obviously for BP, serve your guys up, let them get comfortable, let them get warm. But once your pitcher's ready to pitch, I understand as a hitter, you're going to get up there. You're going to learn to hit a knuckleball and place a knuckleball. It gets tough, but that's how you get better.
Definitely. I mean, no one's going to throw you cookies every time you go to the box. You got to know what to do, and it's not a BP strike.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
But no, you guys seen it firsthand. I mean, if you guys have any questions, you're getting the videos from these guys, but you can hit me up direct. I'm pretty cool. As in, like, I will
confirm.
I will respond back to you if you guys need any kind of like lessons on pitching. There are guys that you guys can reach out. I promise you. Like I mentioned, Jose Flores from Phoenix, Arizona, Pinkham. Clark is probably one of the best pitchers in the country. Andy Purcell, obviously, was a GOAT in U-Trip and really good at ASA as well. A lot of these pitchers, man, reach out to them. They're great dudes. Just, give them some time. Speaking for myself, if you need anything, just hit me up direct. If it takes a couple of days, give me a couple of days. We are busy with the new apparel and the bats and stuff. But if you need anything, like I said, reach out to these guys or me personally, and I'd be happy to help you guys out.